Using your home's equity to budget for your next home is not something that a lot of people know how to do, let alone know how to access that money. Over the last few years, this has become an incredibly powerful tool that a lot of people are using when they relocate. It gives them extra cash to work with as they budget for their move. Stop. You ready, cuddle bug? Yeah. Okay. So I was talking to my friend the other day, and let's just say, for our story's purpose, let's just say her name is Sarah. So I was talking to Sarah the other day. Sarah has 6 kids, just like I do. And her and I were kind of talking about some of the struggles of, when it comes to having to sell your house first and then buy the next one. Well, I was telling her a little bit about how you can take the equity out of your home and purchase the next one and then get everyone settled in the new one. And then decide whether or not you want to sell or rent out the previous one. So taking the money out of your home without having to borrow from your 401k or having to use up your savings or having to use a bridge loan. And it just so happens that today we're going to be focusing on different ways you can get the equity out of your house without having to sell it first. Right, Patrick? So first, we're going to start by figuring out how much equity is actually in your home. Now, in order to do that, we need to take the current value of your home. Now, to calculate the current value of your home, you can do a couple of things. Don't use this estimate, and just a fair warning, it's either going to be really accurate or really not accurate, okay? If you have a real estate friend that you talk to or you have a good relationship with a realtor, that's a good source to find that information out. If you don't, the easiest way to do it would be to go on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com, look to see what has recently sold in your neighborhood that has a similar floor plan and similar square footage and similar features to your current home. Once you have those properties, you can kind of get an idea of how much you could potentially sell your home for in this day and time and market. So that'll kind of give you a rough idea, but the most accurate calculations are obviously going to be from a real estate agent or from a mortgage lender that you know, love, and trust. So to calculate the equity, you're going to take the current home value, you're going to subtract it from how much you owe, your loan balance, and that's going to give you your equity. So for example, if your home was worth $500,000 and you owed $314,000, your equity in your home is around $186,000 for this example. Now that's the equity. Now keep in mind that you're not going to be able to take all of that out. It's not just say, oh look, I have $185,000 I can access. That's not the case in any situation, whether you're selling it, whether you're refinancing, whatever you're trying to do, you're not going to be able to get all of it. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're looking at your equity that's in your current home. So there are 4 different ways that you can pull out the equity in your home. The first way is the home equity loan. You can get a home equity loan, take out the equity in your home. The second option would be a home equity line of credit. Very similar to option 1, except it's a line of credit. Option 3 would be to do a cash out refinance where you take cash out and you refinance your current mortgage. And the fourth way would be to just sell your home and you would get the money out of it that way. So for all intensive purposes of this video right here, we are going to be just focusing on the first 3 methods, mainly because a lot of people, most people, will want to purchase a home and then sell their current one, and so these are 3 ways that we can essentially get equity out to put into a new property. All right, so the first way that you can pull equity out of your home is the home equity loan. Now the home equity loan is going to come in one big lump sum. Your first mortgage is not going to be affected by using this loan. So if you had a 3% locked in your current home, it's not going to affect that or the payment. It's a separate loan completely, okay? Your payment on that loan is going to be a fixed amount in a lot of cases. So you'll have a payment that you'll need to pay every month in addition to your current mortgage that you have on your home that you're living in. And the maximum amount that you are going to be able to take out of your home is going to be about 85%. So let's do this quick calculation if you are going the home equity loan route. So let's say that you have a $500,000 house. You're going to multiply $500,000 by 85% or 0.85, and that's going to get you $425,000. So you can only take out $425,000 if you didn't have any loan debt or anything. Your house is paid off. You could only take out $425,000 with this loan program. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the $425,000. We're going to subtract, we're going to assume, in this example, we're assuming the balance is going to be $314,000, which would give us $111,000 to work with to take out of the property. Now, the big thing about this specific strategy is that you really have to know exactly how much you're going to take out. Now, the maximum is $111,000 in this specific example, but you're going to need to know, do I need to take out $111,000, or can I just get away with taking out $70,000 or $80,000? And you're going to need to figure out your down payment and your closing costs for the house that you're going to purchase first before you get your home equity loan. And this is where things become a little bit trickier, because if you want to purchase your home first, a lot of times you'll need to have that home equity loan in place before you start your search and before you start house hunting. So it makes it a little bit more daunting. Some people will just take out the entire amount and then just, let's just say they use $70,000 of the 111, and then they can simply pay it back. You could use the money that you didn't spend on your down payment and on your closing costs to furnish your home. Any renovation work that you needed to do to the property, you could use that money for that purpose. And just so you know, I'm connected with thousands of agents all across the United States. So if you need a referral for an area that you're trying to relocate to, don't hesitate to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description below. All right, so the next option would be the home equity line of credit. Now, the home equity line of credit, you're going to get your money in more or less a credit card fashion. So for my husband and I, we have a home equity line of credit currently, and we can take as much or as less money out as we need to. It's our first mortgage, our mortgage on our other home that we still own right now is untouched. So you have your line of credit that you're making payments on, and then you still have to make your monthly mortgage payments. So very similar to the home equity loan. And then your payment is going to be either a variable or a fixed rate, depending on who you talk to and which bank or credit union you decide to utilize when it comes to that. They will have variable or fixed rates when it comes to making your monthly payment. And then your maximum amount that you're able to take out is the same as the home equity loan, which is 85%. So if we were to do the same calculation and say 500,000 times 0.85, you get 425,000 minus the balance of your loan, which was 314. So you still have $111,000 to kind of play around with, but you don't have to take it all in one big lump sum. You can say, you know what, for our down payment and closing costs, we need about $60,000, and then we're going to use some other stuff later. And the nice thing about it is that you're only paying a payment on the amount that you take out. You're not paying a payment on the larger sum, which is kind of, to me, in my mind, the biggest difference between the home equity loan and the line of credit. And another benefit to having a home equity line of credit is the fact that you will have what's called a draw period. So for us, we had a draw period of 5 years. So between now and 5 years from now, we can continue to draw money out of that account, whether that be for an emergency, whether that be, a giant house repair that we have to do, right? We can still have that money to pull from if we need it. So that's also an added bonus when you have a line of credit. All right, so the third way that you can pull money out of your house is going to be using what's called a cash out refinance. So it's very similar to refinancing your mortgage, except in this instance, you get to take cash with you. A lot of times it does come with a higher interest rate. So if the daily rate is 6% for you to purchase a home, expect to pay 7%. Usually it's a whole percent higher when you're taking cash out, because there's more more risk for the investors that are holding that new note. So you're going to receive all of your cash in one lump sum. You're going to get a brand new mortgage. So the old mortgage will be paid off. You will refinance into that new rate. So the 3% or 5% that you were holding onto is now gone, and now it's refinanced into the higher rate for this specific situation. You do have a specific payment, but in this situation, it's just one payment. In the other situations, we paid our line of credit and then we also paid our current mortgage. In this situation, the first mortgage is gone. Now we have a new mortgage with a new interest rate, and we're paying that off essentially. And the maximum that you can pull out for this situation would be 80%. So let's run that through our scenario. Let's say that you have a $500,000 house and you multiply that by 80%, which gives you $400,000. If we subtract 314, which is our loan balance, we can pull out $86,000 in our cash out refinance. So even though the mortgage rate is higher, and this is probably not the best option for a lot of people, it might be a good temporary solution instead of having to pay two different notes. So with the home equity loan, you're paying your mortgage and the home equity loan. If you've got a line of credit, you're paying your mortgage and your line of credit. If you do the cash out refinance, it's just one payment. And that one payment might be less than your home equity loan or your home equity line of credit combined with your mortgage. And this option might be better for you if you're opting to sell your property after you decide to make the purchase of the next one. So just kind of keep that in mind. You want to make sure you look at all of your options before making a decision. So once you decide which option is best for you and your family, you want to get that ball rolling. You want to get it moving because it is going to take about a month to get the equity out of your home. Once you do that, you can use that equity to get pre-approved for the home purchase that you're going to purchase. You look for properties, find that home that you love, move into the new property, and then with the home that you moved out of, you're going to either have the option to sell it or keep it as a rental. And if you need any lender referrals to take these numbers to the next level, regardless of what state you're in, just let me know. I have contacts all over the United States when it comes to lenders, when it comes to agents. So feel free to reach out to me or book a call and we can work out the details. All right, so for our cautionary tale, we're gonna bring in Billy Joe and his wife. Now, Billy Joe and his wife make good money. They make $10,000 gross. They bring that in every month, okay? Now, after taxes, they're at about $8,083. They have 2 car payments and a couple of credit cards, which brings their debt roughly to about $1,000. Now, this is what the mortgage lender would do with those numbers. They would say, okay, Billy Joe's getting a conventional loan, so we're gonna take $10,000. The loan limit for conventional is 50%. So half of $10,000 is $5,000, right? So $5,000 minus their debt is $4,000 a month. They say, okay, Billy Joe, guess what? You are approved for $4,000 a month. I mean, that's gonna get you a lot of house, guys. You know, go to town, go crazy. Okay, don't go crazy, don't go to town. That would be my advice, right? Just keep in mind, guys, $4,000 is 49% of what they're bringing in, their net, right? So just under 50% is what they're paying to the bank. And heaven forbid they have an emergency, they still have to pay utilities, they still have to pay, you know, their gas bill. If something breaks down in their house, right, the new one that they just bought, they're gonna have to fix it, right, with some sort of money. So $4,000 is extreme, okay? Now, a good rule of thumb would be what's called the 28% rule. And the 28% rule is you take your gross income and you multiply it by 28%, and that's roughly where you should be. So if we take $10,000 and we multiply that by 28%, that gets us $2,800. That's a big jump between $2,800 and $4,000 a month. That's a huge gap. So my best advice, if you still want to save money and you don't want to be house poor, make sure you use that 28% rule. So my big question to you is, how are you going to use your home's equity? Are you going to use it to buy that next house, that bigger house, that dream house? Or are you going to use it to buy land and then slowly build your custom home? Are you going to go use it to buy that new boat? Or are you going to use the equity in your home to maybe put an additional bathroom or an additional bedroom to your home so you don't have to move it all because you love where you live? Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you plan to do with that home equity. And if you enjoyed our budget session today, be sure to check out the math in this bad boy over here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.